name's Caitlin from grassfedgirl.com, and we're so excited because we have Robin Switzer today from Keto Evangelist and Keto Con, and we're so excited that she's here with us. She's going to tell us about her keto and carnivore journey and talk all about what she's been through and all the great things she's discovered, and she can share with you so you can not make the same mistakes. So welcome, Robin.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great. I thought this would be a good way for us to get to know each other. So tell us a little bit about your health journey and why you got interested in keto and then carnivore.
Sure. Well, I suffered from symptoms of various disorders that were all related to hormonal dysregulation from a very early age. I didn't know what they were, but I didn't know that they were associated with hormonal dysregulation. I just knew that I was suffering. And so those symptoms ranged all over the board, from just weight issues and not being able to lose weight, but also like mood issues, depression, which ended up turning into food addiction and food obsession as I got older. But I struggled with all of these problems that made me like a really difficult teenager. I was not a happy kid, and I made it pretty difficult for a lot of people around me. But as I got older and learned more about health, it became pretty obvious that my problems were related to food, but I just didn't know how to address it. And so I suffered for a really long time. I did develop PCOS. I did get pretty close to pre-diabetic. My A1C was really high for normal. I mean, my A1C was like 5.7, 5.8, 5.9. And at the time, believe it or not, I look back on all my blood work, nobody diagnosed, nobody called me on that. But anyway, eventually I, after many years, discovered low carb. And I had been on every diet known to man. I am known to say that I have tried every single diet that there is out there, including the dangerous ones, all in an effort to lose weight. And I've been carrying around the same, or I had been carrying around the same 20 to 60 pounds all of those years, and nothing really permanently addressed it. I would lose weight and gain it back. So I could never find anything sustainable to really address the weight issues. And all along I was suffering with the hormonal dysregulation as well. And then I found the low carb diet, and that low carb really started to turn things around for me. So I started to lose weight. As long as I kept sweet things out of my diet, I did really well. And I eventually transitioned to keto just to give myself a more disciplined approach, and to continue to address the problems that I was having outside of weight. But and then what ended up happening to me, which from what I understand happens to a lot of people, when keto started to become real popular, then the keto treats started becoming real popular. And before you know it, I was eating keto, but I was just eating a lot of keto treats. And I learned very quickly that I latch on to like super hyper palatable foods, like super spicy or super sweet. Those foods trigger me. And as soon as I cut them out of my diet, I'm good. Like all of those cravings and things like that go away. So once I started really, like, I hate to use this pun, but digesting the fact that I was going to have to make some serious changes to my diet, it became much easier. I just accepted the fact that, I'm going to have to eliminate a lot of things out of my diet. I'm already on the fringe when it comes to my diet anyway. People don't accept what I do, and I don't really care. So I'm just going to go all the way. And then, so that really led me up to January of this year, when I started eliminating everything except for animal products, water, and coffee.
Gotta have that coffee.
Where I am today. Like it's it's November, so it's been 10 full months that I've been doing this, and it's made a huge difference for me.
It goes by really fast, huh?
It does. It does.
I think people think that it's gonna be torture and every day you're gonna be like counting the hours, and it's like, no, that's not. I don't think you or me could have stuck with it if it was like that.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean, so why did you feel like keto was, so as you said about the treats, but was there any other things, like did you have digestive problems or?
No, I didn't. I have like a stomach, like a steel stomach. Nothing really bothers me, from my stomach anyway. But it does affect me emotionally and mentally. Foods do affect me, and very quickly too. So I've been like really successful just keeping all of those foods out of my diet. And when I let them sneak back in, I have problems again. And so I've learned that over the past 10 months now, that there have been times when I've let, excuse me, for whatever reason, let those foods back in, thinking, I'm cured from whatever it was. I guess it's human nature to get cocky. And so, I'm cured from this. And then I let some of those foods back in my diet, and it's like getting hit over the side of the head with a rock. Like the next day, I'm like, I can't function mentally and emotionally. I'm not doing well. So I'm convinced that this is the right thing for me to do.
What do you think about that idea where people say they don't want to do it because they don't want to become more sensitive?
I mean, I guess there's an argument for that, but to tell you the truth, I don't care if I become more sensitive. So, I mean, it's a personal choice. If I become more sensitive, then, oh well, at least I have my mental health and my emotional health and stamina. So, I mean, I'm not 30 years old anymore, so I don't have time to play around with, being oversensitive or sensitive or, testing stuff out and know in 20 years if it was the right thing to do. I'm 57 years old. I want to feel good now.
Yeah, great point. I mean, I think everybody does, no matter what age they are.
Right.
So did you find that keto or carnivore helped you with like changes, like when you turned, from 35 to 45 to 55?
I did. So, the hormonal cycles that women go through from 30 to 50 are all over the map, and I did experience the symptoms of all of those hormonal changes, but I believe that cutting sugar and grains out of my diet and following this protocol where I'm eliminating foods that I'm hypersensitive to, I believe that it helped me get through all those phases without any medical issues. So most women my age are on some sort of hormones, supplements. They're either taking estrogen or putting estrogen on, some creams or patches or pellets or whatever it is. And I really did not want to go down that path. And so I didn't. And so I've come through the other side of all of that without any health issues. And I like to brag that I'm the only woman in my family that still has a uterus. So all the women in my family have had hormonal issues and ended up losing their organs. And I don't want to do that. So I do feel like it helped me a lot.
It seems like in our culture that's very common to go to that as the first, or it's the first step, and it's like,
take a pill or pull it out. Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't. I mean, I understand there's cases for it, but it just seems like done too often,
Mm-hmm. I think I honestly believe that will change, because people that are your age and younger are learning more about the impacts of their hormonal imbalance, and doctors are becoming more and more educated. And as long as that continues, mainstream will start to change. And then younger people will address their health issues by changing their diet. And doctors won't run to pull out an organ or treat something with a pill as a first measure of treatment.
Yeah, well, at least maybe people will go for another opinion before they just
Right.
take that first idea and go with it. So they'll shop around a little more.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about what motivated you to start your business.
Well, I didn't actually start
Businesses.
KetoCon or Keto Evangelist. So I was working in the banking industry. So I worked for a large corporate bank, and I was traveling a lot, and I was burned out, and I was looking for a way to change my career path. I had always had, because I had been obsessed with my health and my weight, my fitness for so many years. It was always just, it was obsession / hobby of mine. Most people read the newspaper. I'm reading some new fitness book or some new research on, metabolic health. So anyway, I had been following the ketogenic diet for quite a while, and I had been listening to the Keto Evangelist podcast for at least a year. And I was in several of the Facebook groups related to keto. The Keto Evangelist organization has a lot of different Facebook groups, private and public groups. And one day I was in one of the groups, and Brian Williamson, who founded Keto Evangelist, posted that he was looking for a project manager. And I really, honestly, I was a sales manager. So for the bank, I was leading a group of salespeople around the country and teaching them and mentoring them on how to sell the bank products. So I really didn't see myself as a project manager, but Brian's a really funny guy, and I really just wanted to talk to him anyway. I didn't think I'd have the skill set to really work to do this job, but I wanted to talk to him anyway. So we set up a call, and then, I don't know, a few weeks later, we started talking, and we hit it off right away. So about a month after that, I started working with Brian, but on the side. So I was still working for the bank. He couldn't really afford to pay me, and I couldn't afford to just quit my job and not be making any money. So we started working together, and I started learning about all the different business lines of Keto Evangelist, and there are 7 of them actually. And then maybe about 9 months later, we decided that it was time for me to make the jump from corporate America. And I sat down with my husband. I said, I really, really want to do this. In my gut, I think it has legs. I really think we could build this into something, but I need time to do it. I can't continue to do 2 jobs because I was working day and night. So we agreed that I would take a year and invest it in this. And if I wasn't making money in a year, then I would go back to work. So I jumped ship, and 30 days later, I was working full time with Brian. And we started mapping out what Keto Evangelist was going to look like in years to come. And then 3 months later, we did the first KetoCon.
Wow.
So I really am proof. I am proof of the saying that your crisis can become your calling, because I would not have taken the jump. I wouldn't have been where I was if I hadn't been struggling with all of these, different ailments that led me to the ketogenic diet. I'd probably be doing something in the health and wellness field eventually, but I wouldn't be here. So it just, all of those things, all of those years of suffering led me to be doing this.
So what is the mission of KetoCon?
Well, KetoCon is really to bring all of the science, the latest research, and the real relatable stories of the ketogenic diet and lifestyle to the communities. So we draw people to KetoCon from literally all over the world. We counted 9 different countries people came from last year to attend KetoCon.
That's
So
awesome.
our mission is really just to educate people, share stories, and to share the latest research and science from speakers, credible, educated thought leaders in the community.
Well, I mean, you have about half the population with diabetes, so you got plenty
Right,
of clientele.
right.
um, so where do you think carnivore fits in with the keto community?
Well, from the carnivore perspective, I mean, there's a trend in that direction in this space. There's a lot of people who have similar issues that I had, that they need to eliminate additional foods out of their diet. They need to continue to educate themselves. They need to understand how to treat themselves because they don't have a medical practitioner that understands how to help them. So with KetoCon, I would say a good 50% of our speakers and the trend in products is on the carnivore side. So for people who are following the ketogenic diet that are not going as far as eliminating everything except for animal products out of their diet, they are still in a space where they can benefit from increasing the animal products in their diet and decreasing the inflammatory things that they eat. And each person's going to learn that in their journey. Some people do fine with vegetables and don't have issues with oxalates, don't have autoimmune issues. So those people can continue to eat a very low carb diet that's more towards the typical ketogenic macros, if you will. But I mean, the ketogenic diet is promoting a state of being in ketosis, whether you do that with an all animal products diet or a low carb, higher fat diet. To me, it doesn't matter as long as you're benefiting from the therapeutic effects of being in ketosis.
Yeah, I know sometimes I wake up and I still have that dragon breath. So I'm like, okay, I know it's still there. It's not going anywhere. Um, so how do you think that people like transitioning from keto to carnivore, they get so freaked out about the macros, and what do you tell those people?
Well, I mean, I don't coach anybody, so people don't usually ask me those questions. But I mean, for myself, my own personal experiences, I'm not a tracker. So I'll do it occasionally just to keep myself in check, but uh, I don't like tracking per se because it kind of gets me back into that obsessive compulsive, what am I going to eat? When am I going to eat? How much am I eating? And then punishing myself if I've got too much protein, too much fat, or whatever. You know, it's a mental game with me. So what I tell people is, this is so, you're going to laugh at me, but I tell people fast every day, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, period. And it takes a long time to mentally get to that place. It took me a long time to get there. I was not there when I was just doing keto. I had to go to carnivore to get there. And it wasn't until that I started eating like this that I understood what it felt like to be full without being stuffed and bloated. So I can easily go for hours without eating, where before I never could have done that.
Yeah. I mean, just getting off the sweets is the first time I've ever been able to give up stevia and erythritol and all those things. I could never do that when I was on keto. It
Mm-hmm.
was just torture. Like I wanted a Lily's bar or a Zevia or
Yeah.
a little bit of kombucha or something every three
Yeah.
times a day,
Yeah.
twice a day, dark chocolate. Um,
And I don't know if you experienced this, but those Lily's bars, I think they're supposed to be 2.5 servings in that bar. I've never opened a Lily's bar and not eaten the whole entire thing.
Oh, absolutely.
And I pay for it big time when I do that. And I have the same thing. I have the same problem with other products that are on the market now that everybody was so excited about, like the keto ice creams. There's supposed to be 4 servings in that thing. There's just no way. And I mean, I'll pay. If I eat something like that, it'll be days before I feel better.
Oh, yeah. Even the Rebel.
Yeah.
I get really bloated when I eat dairy. What about you?
I'm not a big dairy person. I don't. Well, so if you consider eggs dairy, I do eat egg yolks. But as far as other dairy, I'm not a big cheese eater. I never have been a big cheese eater. It's kind of like, cheese is kind of like crack for me, like one piece and, the whole pound. I eat the whole pound. It's like, I wish I didn't have these tendencies, but I do. My husband loves cheese and he'll eat a few ounces of cheese and not touch it again. It just doesn't bother him, but I can't do it. So I tend to stay away from cheese. I do really like heavy cream in my coffee, but I don't do it because then I want something sweet in there with it too. And it just doesn't work. So if I ever have cream in my coffee, it'll be like only during my eating window. So if I do let myself have it, I typically eat between like 11 and 3 or 12 and 4. And if I'm going to have coffee with cream, and it's going to be during that time. And because it's so late in the day, it's going to be decaf because otherwise I won't sleep at night. So it just kind of like, eventually you just lose the taste for it too. Like it's one of those things where you don't have it for a long time and in your mind, it's so amazing. And you go back and have it. And it's like, I don't, not a big deal. I wasn't really missing anything. It's all in my mind.
It's not as great as you remember.
Yeah. It's with that with a lot of foods. Have you ever noticed that? I've noticed that when I was doing keto and low carb, I would eat like Quest bars and stuff like that, which I thought was just like so amazing that there was something that tasted like food that I ate when I was, not following this kind of diet. And I went back and tried those things later. They're disgusting. I do not like that stuff.
I've tried the, they taste like chemicals. Even I tried like Halo Top or something like that. It tastes like chemicals to me now.
Right.
When it looks so good. And the same thing whenever you try like a gluten-free or a bread type product, a low carb bread, it's like it looks good, but then it's like,
it doesn't really taste as good. And I'm really, I don't want to minimize that whole thing because I'm really grateful to have that experience because I suffered for so many years being obsessed with that stuff and feeling tortured that I was either binging with it or obsessing over the fact that I couldn't have it. There was no happy medium for me. And being freed of that obsession is huge. I was telling someone a few weeks ago that when in the first like 90 days that I went carnivore, I said do you know Nicole Carter? She's Healthy with Nicole. I said to Nicole, I need to find a hobby because I have so much time on my hands. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm not cooking. I'm not grocery shopping. I'm not like creating something new. All I'm doing now is working and sleeping. I have got to find a hobby. I need to go do some volunteer work or something to replace that time. And I realized when I said that how many years of my life I wasted being totally like mentally and emotionally obsessed with this stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a food blogger, so.
Right. You understand.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and now I don't have any dishes to wash or, it's just, not the amount that I was used to making a big recipe and then
oh my God, yeah.
having a big cleanup and shopping all day. And then, it's a whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, I actually started something new this summer because I was like, I need more stuff to do. I mean, besides YouTube, which is another new thing. But so you said you try to intermittent fast every day. Did you start that right out of the gate with carnivore or?
No, I didn't. When I first started carnivore, I was just, when I wanted to eat, I ate. And regardless of how hungry I was, if I thought, if in my head I was thinking, time to eat, or I'm hungry, I want to eat, I ate. So when I first started, I was eating twice a day. I was eating 2 big meals every day. And then after a few months, it was kind of like, well, I'm not really that hungry. Um, I just won't eat this meal and I'll wait till the next one until I actually get hungry. And then I realized that I wanted to take this journey even further, and fasting is a tool that you can use to improve your health. I mean, clearly I've turned around a lot of issues, but many of them are not measurable. I mean, yeah, my A1C is down, but I never had a blood sugar problem. I never had a cholesterol problem. So a lot of the things that I was turning around were not measurable. So I started getting more interested in fasting for the autophagy benefits and for the anti-aging benefits, if I'm going to be 100% honest, because I would like to continue to age backwards as long as I possibly can. I have 2 grown children that do not have children yet. And if I'm going to be a grandmother, eventually I want to be, young enough to keep up with them. So I started fasting for all those reasons. And where I am right now, like I said, I typically eat like from 11 or 12 until 4. So either 4 or 5 hour eating window. I don't eat at night. I don't eat after dinner. I try not to make exceptions to this, because if I eat after 4 o'clock, I don't sleep well. And sleep is really super important to me. So, so I don't eat after 4 o'clock. And lately I have been pushing myself to extend those fasts. So in my emotional obsession with food and dieting and stuff, the thought of 24 hours just always pushed me to a place where I would go, oh, I better eat as much as I possibly can right now, because I'm not going to eat again for another 24 hours. So it took me a long time to get past that. So I've recently done a few 36-hour fasts, and next month I'll work a few longer fasts than that. And my goal is to get to like a 4 or 5 day fast, probably by like February or March of next year, if I keep on building at this pace, because I'd like to benefit from the increased stem cell production and the increased ketone levels and the decreased glucose and decreased insulin, all of that stuff. I'd like to see where that takes me. And the fact that I can even say that out loud, compared to 2 years ago, where all I could think about is what I'm going to eat next. Now I'm talking about how to not eat at all. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not there yet. I think that you could. I'm still at the 2 meals a day, and I feel like whenever I try to do less than that, I end up overeating and binge, not binging, but just freaking out that I'm not gonna make it to that next. I think because I have so much baggage around dieting and stuff from my whole life, that it's like any kind of restriction just makes me want to eat more,
Right.
So
Right.
maybe later on I'll get there, but
I completely understand where you're coming from. I do.
I mean, I've even done it. Like I've tried to do OMAD, and I ate so much that I got feeling sick, and it was just like, okay, I mean, how is that beneficial?
Right. Absolutely. It's definitely not for everybody. Definitely not for everybody. But I can tell you, I do believe that not snacking between meals and not eating after dinner is important for everyone to regulate their system. I think that anybody who's willing to do that will see the benefits in their sleep. They'll see the benefits in their deep sleep, and they'll see the benefits in how they feel when they wake up in the morning.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I try to eat a really early dinner, unless I'm eating with other people, but most
Right.
days I eat by myself,
Me
like
too.
at 4 or something.
Mhm.
And then I try not to, and I don't keep things around. Like I really, processed meats really don't jive with me. I feel like they're more snacky, and I don't eat charcuterie and things like that,
Sure.
because it's just that availability of something not cooked. Same thing with cheese. It's too easy to grab and just
Sure. And
you walk.
that's what it's meant for, right? That's what it's meant for. So, I mean, those trays were designed to sit at a table in the middle of a group of people when everybody's drinking wine to pick on it. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I've never been much for processed meats myself. So,
I mean, I love them, but they
Mhm.
don't love me. So tell us what your go-to foods are. What do you?
Oh, I'm so basic, Caitlin. It's like I'm super basic. So, I eat red meat and seafood. Occasionally I eat chicken, but I really don't care for chicken anymore. I do eat eggs and some salmon occasionally, but I've learned that I'm not as crazy about salmon anymore as I used to be. I love salmon raw, but when I eat it cooked, I'm not able to digest it very well, which is weird. So I don't have it very often. And water and coffee.
That
No,
sounds
I'm
that's
so
nice.
basic, like really. So today, I'll give you an example. Today, at around 12 o'clock, I had 2 hard-boiled eggs. And then while you and I were chatting, getting ready to start this call, I made a steak in the air fryer, and I'm going to eat that afterwards. And that'll probably be, unless I get hungry again before 4 o'clock, I try to squeeze something in before 4 o'clock, that'll probably be it. I probably will eat again. But like I said, very, very basic. And I'm not like unlike you, I don't have small children. So I don't
No,
have to cook for anybody else.
I don't either. I have
Okay.
I I have nephews.
Your
They're
nephew,
with
that's
me.
right.
They're with me a lot, but I do not have my own children. My sister has children, and I watch
Okay.
them a lot. So I play with them a lot. So sometimes
Uh-huh.
you'll see children, but they're not mine.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, that would be so difficult for me. Like if I had to prepare food for other people, when I'm done eating for the day, I can see that would be really hard for people. So um, I can see that it would be tough to put kids on your schedule. And I mean, it's hard enough to get them to eat what you eat. But for me, I mean, I work at home, so I don't have to worry about any of that. My husband works out of the house, so he eats lunch out, and he typically eats much later than I do. So he cooks his own dinner, so I don't even have to deal with that. It's almost like I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, my husband's a chef, so he cooks for himself sometimes, but that's probably he was just calling me, probably telling me to take something out to heat up for him or something. But yeah, it's nice to have a husband that can cook for themselves, so you're not always being
Right.
asked to do something. So, what do you think about nose to tail? Are you worried about nutrient deficiencies in that
No,
regard?
I add those foods in as well. I knew I skipped something. So a lot of times I'll order. I buy a lot of meat from U.S. Wellness Meats, and so especially when I buy organ meats, I buy them frozen online. I just do not trust what I see in the grocery store. So Like just yesterday, I got a delivery from US Wellness Meats with like 4 pounds of liver. So I'll take that liver, grind it up, and mix it with ground beef and make like liver and beef meatballs or hamburgers and stuff like that. There's a company, I'm not going to be able to remember the name of it right now, that makes a blend with heart, kidney, spleen, liver, and beef, and you buy it in like 1 pound bricks. So I'll buy that as well to get in other organ meats. I did try taking a supplement, but in order to get what you need to take 6 of them a day. And I was like, I don't want to keep, I don't want to do this. I'm trying to get away from taking stuff. So that lasted a couple of weeks and I chucked it. So from now on, I'm just going to buy the stuff online and make it myself.
That's a great idea. Mixing it up. I think people forget about that option, and you don't have to. If you really can mask it with that, you
really can. I know that a lot of people like to freeze it and cut it into little pieces and swallow it raw, frozen. I haven't felt the need to do that. So, I've tried it, but I'd rather eat
it. Yeah, I do. This is the challenge, I think. For me, it's not the gross factor.
Right.
So what would you tell other women who maybe are nervous to start carnivore, but they want to, but they're just afraid of maybe the social stigma or something like that?
Well, here's the thing. I don't care what other people think. And I also don't talk about it. So if I'm out to dinner with friends and I order, no one really ever asks me about why I'm eating or why I'm eating what I'm eating. I just order and eat. I think it's a lot easier now that people are, no one goes into hysterics or panic when you order something without a bun anymore. I mean, you can go to fast food and order something without a bun and they're not surprised anymore. So I think that I would tell women to just try it for 30 days. I would not recommend trying it for 2 weeks and deciding if you like it or not. Give it a full 30 days. And don't talk about it to everybody. Do your own research, keep your blinders on, decide what you need to do for you, and try. If you want to talk to people about it, talk to people in the carnivore community. But I would not, recommend walking around carrying a sign that says I'm carnivore. Why draw the attention to yourself where you have to explain yourself?
And I've seen after 30 days or so, people were asking me, what are you doing? Your skin, and they're asking you, so you don't have to tell them the first week, this
Right.
is what I'm doing, because then you kind of open the door that they're going to rain on your parade, and you're giving them that opportunity.
Sure.
And you're kind of asking for their approval.
Exactly. And I actually had that very same experience that you're just talking about recently, where I got together with a group of friends that I hadn't seen in actually many years. And one of the women knows what I do because she found out on Facebook, and she goes, how come you look so much better than us? Is that the keto thing? I need to learn about this keto thing. And so I just said to her, listen, what I do is I don't eat any sugar and I don't eat any grains. And she said, well, what about alcohol? I don't know if I want to stop drinking. I said, well, that's your choice, but I don't drink. And I did drink wine for a long time, but in January I just stopped. And I don't miss it anymore. I don't really even like the taste very much anymore. So her thing was she saw the difference. She wanted to experience the difference, but she's not in a place where she's willing to make any changes. So I can't really help somebody like that. In that case, I can just tell people, this is what I do. And if you'd like to try it, give it 30 days, just like anything else. But I think people have to find their way here themselves.
Yeah,
They hear it enough times. If they hear it enough times, they might get. It's kind of like the marketing strategy where you have to get someone's attention 8 times to get them to buy something, regardless of the channel where you're touching them. It takes that many times for you to get through to someone's brain where they recognize it. So maybe she'll see it 7 more times somewhere else, and then come back to me and say, "Hey, maybe I should try that."
Well, I think you planted the seed with her, and it may take another diagnosis or, another challenge for her to realize, hey, I need to make a change. Or, some people just, as soon as they hear what they have to do to look like you, they say, forget it.
Right.
Like, I'm happy with my, my jalapeno poppers at the happy hour, Like, okay. So, yeah, I also gave up drinking a long time ago, and it really helped me because as soon as I would start drinking, I would start eating.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like a big mess. So,
right.
They go together, I think, with the whole blood sugar regulation and everything. So, what do you think? Tell people how they can go to KetoCon and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Well, KetoCon takes place in Austin, Texas. Next year, it will be June 12th, 13th, and 14th. The event is held at the Palmer Event Center, and people can look at our website, it's ketocon.org, for information about everything that's going on and for tickets. Right now, our tickets are discounted $100 for the 3-day pass. And the prices will go up a little bit on January 1st and then again on April 1st. And I would recommend for people who are interested in coming to look into it now, because last year we had 3,500 people there, and I'm going to cap ticket sales at 4,000 this year because it was really tight in there at 3,500. So we're going to cap ticket sales at 4,000. We've already sold 1,000 tickets, and so I'm expecting it to be just as busy, if not more so, than last year. Over the course of 3 days, we'll have a minimum of 45 speakers. I'm actually working through all of the applications right now. So we have 3 stages running all at the same time. We have a main stage in the main hall, and we have 2 breakout rooms upstairs that each hold 150 people each. And there'll be speakers on all 3 stages, all 3 days, all day from 10 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's a lot going on. We also hold an entrepreneur mastermind session early on Saturday morning, where we bring in a panel of entrepreneurs that are in this space that have started successful businesses, so that people who are looking to start their own business, whether it be a product or a service, that they can learn from these successful entrepreneurs. So we do that on Saturday morning. We just finalized all the plans for doing functional body weight movement classes on Saturday and Sunday during the event. And the exhibitor hall is open all day, every day. So if there's not a speaker that somebody is interested in listening to at any given time, which I can't imagine with all those different speakers, but if there's a topic that you're not necessarily interested in, the exhibitor hall holds 138 exhibitors, and it will be open from morning until night at 6:30. We hold all kinds of activities in the afternoon between 4:30 and 6:30. When the event center closes. So it's a very busy 3 days. But if people want to know why they should attend, the best part about going to KetoCon is really about community, because when you're in a health and wellness space like this, and all of your contacts are on social media, and you're not really interacting with people one-on-one, it can be very isolating. Even when you're part of a carnivore community or a keto community online, it's still online, and you're still like in a device. It's not like one-on-one interaction. So what we've seen is that people who know each other from from different social media channels, they come to this event so they can meet each other in person. So there's a lot of that going on, a lot of networking. And then the learning aspect is, I would say, good 50% of the speakers are from the medical community. So these are medical professionals that are utilizing the ketogenic or carnivore diet to treat and help people manage whatever their health hurdles are. They're utilizing this today, and they can share that information with the public to help the public learn how to educate themselves. So that's huge. And then the third piece is that the other speakers are thought leaders in this space, or they are people like you and I who have actually used these protocols to improve their health and can show you, this is where I started, this is where I am, and this is what I did. So it becomes like extremely motivating. People go there and they leave so inspired and pumped up. They go home and they feel like they have the tools that they need to continue. And so, I mean, a year is a long time, you know, it's a long road to improve your health. It's really easy to gain a lot of weight, but it's really hard, or it's really easy to turn your symptoms into some sort of ailment, but it's really hard, and it takes time to turn those things around. So this kind of getting together in events like this just fuels people to continue going.
Absolutely. That's amazing. I mean, I know so many people feel so alone at home, and that's a way for them to connect. And, you know, I talk to people all day long on the internet, so I don't really feel alone. But I have been there to the Palmer events for another ancestral event, and it is amazing. It is huge and big, and there's so many rooms you can go into and hear your favorite speakers, and it's definitely something I would love to come again. I'm not sure yet, but I would love to come and see all, because some of the people in Carnivore I haven't even met yet, like Judy. I met Laura Spath and
pictures.
Yeah, but so there's some people that I really would like to get to know and see there. So we'll see if my schedule jives with it. But well, it's been so awesome, Robin, to have you, and tell everyone where they can find. Do you have your own website, or if they want to contact you?
The best way to reach out to me is on Instagram, because I tend to shy away from Facebook these days. I don't really go there very much. I'm really not that active on Instagram, but on Instagram, I'm the Robin Switzer. And that's really the best way to reach me initially. And then, I mean, if anybody wants to reach out to me directly, I'll respond to that and talk to them on the phone or by email.
Well, awesome. Well, I hope everybody gets to KetoCon and gets to meet you. And it's been really nice for you to share your journey, because I know a lot of people can benefit from this. And thank you for your time again. So everybody, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, give it a thumbs up, ring the little bell so you know when I get another video, and share with a friend that this might help. So thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.